I don't have an exciting beginning for this episode. I normally plan it out to have something stupid or funny to say, but I didn't today. So we're just gonna go ahead and jump into it. Let's introduce ourselves because we don't need to still do that, but let's do it anyways. Hi, I'm Kerf Murph. I'm a monster.
Yeah.
I like to interrupt people accidentally.
Are you gonna say your name?
It's just me today.
Oh, it's just you
It's
today?
just me today. You guys are just
Okay.
here to listen.
Sounds like what it usually is.
Oh, my heart.
Not even at the intro, and the claws are like 3 inches deep.
Introduce yourselves.
Oh, Ultimate Zombie Toast.
And I am Rick, aka Ninja Rick, aka the linchpin that holds this podcast together.
AKA Brother Hammer, as your name is on Discord now. What's that about?
That is the translation of Chinese Thor.
What?
The Avengers version of Thor in their films. His name translated is Brother Hammer.
That is so lame.
You're lame. Your name is Toast. You can't tell me my name's lame.
Well, she's named after Zombie Toast. There's a qualifier there that makes everything
Yeah,
different.
Hmm?
So you're dead and lame.
Well, undead.
Yes.
Not
And-
really living and lame.
So much more unique than your name.
Brain dead and lame.
Well, I mean...
Toast is never going to be lame.
Ultimately, brain dead and lame.
I don't know about brain dead. I mean, there's still enough, you know...
Well, you're narcoleptic, so there.
That is true.
That is not the comeback you think it is.
I mean, you might as well be brain dead
Yes.
for how much
Shall we
you're
move on
asleep.
before we leave?
Yeah, that's probably what we should do. So, we're gonna start with our recently beat and currently playing, as we usually do. I guess I'll go ahead and get started because apparently I just talk and talk and talk, so I might as well keep doing it. If it's been working well so far, why stop now? So...
Somebody call 911.
So, let's see. Recently beat, I'll just go from most recent to least recent. So last thing I beat was Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for the Nintendo Switch. It's a pretty good game. I feel like a lot of people have been building it up as like a masterpiece in recent years. It's not. I mean, Donkey Kong Country Returns and Tropical Freeze are both good games. I mean, they're solid platformers and they have great level design, but I don't know, they're so touchy to me. I don't know if you feel that way, Toast.
They don't look as good as the Super Nintendo ones. Or at least in my opinion. I like the 16-bit graphics a lot better.
Yeah. I mean,
They're so charming.
they are charming and nostalgic in many ways. I mean, I think they're still good-looking games, just like colors and character designs and whatnot. But, I don't know, especially Tropical Freeze, they were two worlds that were just boring. Very boring. The first world, where it's all the, like, ruined airplanes and stuff. And
Yeah.
then the underwater world, both of those were just...
Their underwater worlds are always garbage, though.
I mean, but has there ever been, like, an underwater world? I guess there have been.
I
at
liked
least in the
the
first one, I think
swamp
there was.
levels in 2. Those underwater worlds were kind of... horrible, but interesting looking.
Yeah, same.
You punk.
For the new listeners, I haven't played Donkey Kong games, and I am sort of a little bit hated by the rest of this panel.
I mean, rightfully so. I mean, anybody
Well-
who hasn't played Donkey Kong Country, the original trilogy, you can't really trust them.
All of my friends ever.
Yeah, you can't trust them, Dave.
Any of them.
Gatekeeping to the extreme. When you say touchy in terms of controls, do you mean it's sort of too responsive, or?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I mean, I'm used
Not a
to...
good balance.
Yeah, yeah. Like, when you're in the old games, when you would do like a roll into a jump to like speed up your momentum and stuff, and then like if you need to correct, you can do that by like pulling back a little bit, and you can kind of do it that way. And it kind of has a good weight to it. Whereas the distribution of momentum between when you're going from just like a walking jump between like a rolling jump, the momentum is so off between the two of them, and I could never find the perfect in between for them. So I died a lot because of it.
And that's so important to a platformer, because if you don't get that right, that's sort of everything.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it still works because it is responsive enough that if you have good enough reflexes, you can still correct back to where you need to be. I don't have great reflexes, as I have gone on the record about. So, yeah. And then, also, it does have unfair deaths. I know people try to say that it doesn't, but it absolutely does. Things that you cannot possibly see coming, that they just drop a boulder on your head and you're dead. So, not a big fan of that.
3 also did, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Not so much in 2, I don't think, just because I'm unfairly biased and I'm going to say it's the best thing ever. But I feel like 1 and 3 did. Also, there's no Dixie Kong, and I love Dixie.
Dixie is in Tropical Freeze.
She is? I can't remember.
Tropical Freeze added Dixie and Cranky.
Oh, I didn't know. Wait, they got rid of Cranky, like, in the other one?
Cranky was not in Returns, and neither
In
was
Returns.
Dixie. Returns only had Diddy. And
Yeah.
Diddy sucks
thinking,
in both games.
Well, yeah, it's Diddy. Mm-hmm.
I love
Dixie's where it's at.
Dixie is where it's at. That is very true. Anyway, I'll move on because I've been talking about that for a while. Before that, I beat the new God of War, which was a pretty darn good game. I don't know if it holds as much of a spot in my heart as the original 3 games, but definitely the second half of the game is much more playable than the first half of the game. Once your son companion Atreus actually is able to like hold his own in battle with all of his upgrades and stuff, then it smooths out so much and becomes an actual fun combat experience. Until that happens, it's kind of slow going. But I mean, the world design is great. Go ahead.
Sorry, that's the second time I've like jumped down your throat in 5 minutes.
It's fine.
The whole upgrade thing with the new God of War, every time I hear people talking about it, it just makes me feel a bit icky, because it sounds like they're talking about an RPG, not Kratos beats down on people in the game, which is sort of what I want.
There were upgrades in the first one, though.
Yeah, but you think about them for like 2 seconds. It's not full-on upgrade trees and...
Oh.
Yeah,
well,
it is very different.
I guess.
Like, the original God of War, I think, cumulatively over the course of the game, I spent about 5 minutes in menus just throwing points at things.
Yeah, because I mean, the way it worked in the old games, if I'm remembering correctly, is like every time you killed someone or opened one of those red soul boxes or whatever, then they gave you points, and then the only decision you would have to make is which blade do I put points into.
Pretty much, yeah.
Whereas in the new game, it is absolutely an action RPG. You have equipment that you have to put on. You have to like put sockets of talismans and relics into those armored slots and stuff. There's just a lot of systems that I never fully got used to. I played it for like 20 hours, I think. 26 hours. Dang, that's more than I thought. Yeah, I never really got used to them, and I think that my ability to do combat efficiently was kind of messed up by that. there were all of these like runic attacks that you have to do that are like combo moves that have cooldown and all of that sort of stuff. And they're pretty cool to use, but I didn't find out that you could actually upgrade them until like 4 hours before I beat it or something.
Oh god.
So there's just a lot of menus and a lot of systems, which isn't like a problem. It's just that I didn't use them like they wanted me to.
I feel like it's better than the original because the original was pretty thoughtless in how if you're gonna not get that in depth with it, why bother having the ability to upgrade when it's so, like, just dump points?
Well, I mean, the decision-making that you had to make in the earlier games ultimately came down to basically specializing which weapon tree you want to go down. So you could have your Blades of Chaos if you liked those the best, but then you could also have, like, your sword weapon or some of the other types of weapons that they gave you. So, like, ultimately, if you decide at the beginning of the game, okay, this is the weapon I like to use, then you can put all your points into that and you can make yourself a beast at that. Or you can specialize among all of them if you want to have different tools for different battles. So, I mean, I don't think it was thoughtless, but I definitely think that they have different strengths to them.
The new one sounds better.
Well, I mean, you're also a very story-oriented person, so I think that the new one would definitely be much more up your alley.
And whereas... I'm getting bought it, so all I have to do is finish the first 3, and then I'll get bought the new one. So I'm like...
First
kind of...
3? There were like 6.
Yeah, but they don't... The others don't matter.
Ascension seems like it matters.
Ascension... Something about the combat of it just rubbed me the wrong way.
Is it not the same combat, though?
It actually isn't. I mean, it has similar mechanics, but there was something about it. It was a long time since I played it, but it was just weird. I don't know. Anyway, I will move on from that as well. The only other game that I've beaten since the last episode was Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, which we were going to talk about as part of the Game of the Month discussion today. But
as well as the Game of the Month of its history.
My lovely co-hosts did not, 1, attempt to try it, or 2, get very far.
Too. Oh, okay, I see.
You tried to call me out earlier.
To be fair, I have played Wind Waker 12 times. Why the crap do I have to play it again?
And in my defense, I beat Phantom Hourglass. It's like the same game.
That is not even remotely true.
I want to physically hurt you.
How to trigger gamers 101.
Yeah, but Toast tried to call me out. She said, like, we were talking before we recorded. She was like, "Oh, mister, I don't think you've gotten any further than that, so I don't want to hear from the peanut gallery."
Oh, yeah, and you're like, actually, I beat it this month.
I 100%ed it this month.
Oh, there's no achievements. There's no definitive proof. He did not. He's lying.
Do you want the definitive proof? You want me to take photos of my Nintendo gallery figurines, how I have each one of them in the gallery?
I went too far and now I can't back down.
How I have every single heart container, how I got all of the treasure charts. Come on, bring it on, fight me. I'll take you down.
You heard it here first, Murph is balling.
Anyway, all I'll say about Wind Waker is that it's very good. Everybody should play it. Everybody should have played it this month. We'll get to that later.
I just wish it didn't rely so much on the stylus. I think that's its one big downfall.
The stylus?
What?
Oh, you... Oh, can we just... What are the arson laws in the UK?
Thankfully, very prohibitive. Right, before this completely goes off the rails, shall I jump in or you?
Let's see. I guess I should also mention what I'm currently playing. The only new things that I've added there, I started playing Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia, because I've owned it for many moons, and I haven't started it yet. I know your feelings on it, Toast. I mean, you know, systems or whatever aside, I will give it that it has so far a better plot than Fate's. That's pretty low bar to set.
Given.
Yeah, but I'm enjoying the character interactions and all of that. So I'm not very far, only like 3 hours or so, but it's been good to me. And then yesterday I just started Castlevania Circle of the Moon, and I mean it's a Metroidvania Castlevania, and there's never anything to complain about with those.
Yeah.
So.
Although Circle of the Moon is arguably the worst of sort of the 6 Egovanias.
I mean, that's still not saying much, though. It's still a good game.
I know that still makes it very good, don't get me wrong, but it's, I think by a margin, all of the other 5 games are significantly better even than that. I'm trying to think how I'd order them. I'd probably put Ecclesia at the top, then the 2 Sorrow games, then Portrait of Ruin, and then Harmony of Dissonance. Which, to be fair, a lot of people prefer Circle of the Moon to Harmony of Dissonance, but...
Wait, so where does Soten fall in that?
Yeah, I suppose you would count that as an Egovania, wouldn't you? I was thinking of sort of the handheld ones. I would put it between Portrait of Ruin and the Sorrows games.
So that would be like number 3 in your
that would
list?
be number 4.
4, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, Castlevania is one of the, like, 10 things that matters in this world. So, always good, never a problem.
That's a list for a future podcast.
Play Castlevania. We should just have a Castlevania episode someday, because, boy, I have a lot to say.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said.
And I will be able to contribute in no way, shape, or form.
And I look forward to it immensely.
Bring that forward. I mean...
Oh, jeez. Ugh. Oh, gang.
Oh, how did...
Terrible.
You blipped out a little bit on my side, so whatever horrible thing you just said.
I was just crying.
Oh, just crying?
Yeah, because my feelings are hurt.
Oh, no. That's never happened on this podcast before.
No.
All just tearing each other down constantly.
Pretty much. Toast got a taste of her own medicine this time. So she said she couldn't contribute to a Castlevania discussion. I said we should bring that discussion forward then. And yeah.
Alright, that's all I've got. So who wants to go next?
Sweet. I'm going to be a little bit greedy and throw myself in because I've got a big completion this month.
Ooh.
Fortnight, whatever. And that is University Deadline Simulator 2018. It's done.
Finally.
It's out of the way. I am, however, playing the spin-off DLC, which is Public Speaking Competition Simulator.
Why? So, Rick? Do we need to...
It came as Game of the Year bundle, alright? I've got it. I need to beat it out of there.
Do we need to derail this entire episode and just have, like, a... What do they call them? Why am I blanking on the word?
What, like a retrospective?
No. The thing they do for alcoholics. Intervention. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Intervention.
Maybe no, it's a bit late for the intervention. So, briefly on UDS. It's okay. I would struggle to recommend it to anyone unless they're planning on playing one of the 2 sequel follow-up games, which are Degree-Related Job Simulator or Postgraduate Study Simulator. If you have your mind set on one of those 2, then by all means go and hit the first one out, because you sort of need to understand the story from it to move forward, but otherwise, give it a pass. Not really worth your time. And then, other than that bombshell, I've got 3 other games I beat since we last recorded, so just quickly... Ooh! Side note, I just won a copy on eBay of Final Fantasy Tactics Advance.
Wow! Hooray!
Yay!
Woo! That was so enthusiastic, guys. Thank you.
Oh, because
Live
it's like
on the podcast.
You heard it here first. So,
that's about the applause it deserves.
would you put them away, please?
I'm sorry.
No, you're not, don't worry. So, game numero uno, Adventures of Mana, the Vita port, which is a port of like a really old Game Boy game. It's pretty good. You can definitely tell that it was made in the 90s. It has the sort of screen transition animation, it has four-way directional movement, it has quite a convoluted progression through the story, but they've made some quality of life tweaks, so you have more sort of hot slots to put abilities and what have you. The graphics, I didn't think I would like as much as I did, but I actually think they frame the game quite nicely. And if you don't mind some of the older trappings, I think it's well worth a look, especially at the price. It's only, I think on sale I paid like £5 for it. Maybe full price 10, 11, 12. I think it's still worth that. The second one I played is a game called Sonic Suggests. The joke being Sonic forces, Sonic suggests. And it's literally a 6-minute meme game. Why are you shaking your head, Toast? Why is your face
Oh
making...
no! You can't call that a game.
I did feel a little bit dirty putting it down as a completion. Just a little bit. It's funny. For 5 minutes, it's funny. And that's all it really had to be, because it's free.
It price-wise, it's free, but
Yeah, what's the price you paid with your
yes.
soul?
What soul? Oh, I paid that price long ago. Yeah, that game deserves no more time, really. And the last one that I beat is the Vita port of XCOM Enemy Unknown, which they call it Unknown, but it contains most of the within expansion content. And it's just as good as it is everywhere else. I will say it's probably a little bit more glitchy than it is on PC. So on at least 3 occasions, I had a unit glitch into the scenery and be unmovable for the rest of the game. There were a couple of times where throwable items would get caught on the hitbox of the character throwing them, which was quite frustrating because one of my snipers had the ability where you can throw what's essentially a sight grenade. It gives you another line of sight, so you can sort of scout enemies without them seeing you. But it's not much good when that extra sight is exactly where you are and it's stuck there. But honestly, those things are quite minor in the context of a 30-40 hour experience, which is up there with the best games available, full stop, in my view. And if you want to play it on the go and you don't mind sort of a little bit of a graphical drop, some slightly extended load times, I think it's well worth getting on the Vita. And yeah, so that's what I've played. Just briefly in terms of what I'm playing, I've sort of fallen down the 3DS rabbit hole big style. So between Project X Zone and Shin Megami Tensei 4, I've lost about 30 odd hours in the past couple of weeks, just to those 2 games, not counting Rocket League or anything else I've been playing. It's a lovely little system. I quite like the 3D. I know a lot of people don't, and I suspect I'm helped somewhat by the stabilization of it on the newer models. But I think it really, really adds something, especially in Shin Megami Tensei 4, where you're exploring these underground caverns, you're seeing enemies around you, and it feels like you're looking into this little active diorama, and it really makes the visuals, I think. So yeah, I mean, do you guys have any thoughts on that, or?
I mean, nothing to add except that you're right. The 3DS is beautiful and amazing, and I love it with all my heart.
It's pretty baller.
It's pretty good. I'm quite happy.
I spent a lot of time in high school on it. I don't spend as much time now, but it was my go-to system in high school, so I'm pro 3DS.
Yeah. To be fair, with how long you spent on Fire Emblem, that was probably your go-to system just for that one game alone.
Yeah.
Mad.
I mean, I think that I played my 3DS more than my consoles during my undergrad. Just because I would be out on campus all day and need something to play, so it would either be emulating something on my laptop or playing whatever I rented for my 3DS. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, because you're still on the GameFly hype, aren't you?
I am. And it's still working out well for me.
Yeah. What have you got ordered on it at the minute? That's how you played God of War, wasn't it?
That's how I played God of War. That's actually how I played Tropical Freeze also. So just sent them packing. Let's see. Maybe my new games have been sent out for me to check on. In case we needed another GameFly commercial in the middle of the podcast.
If you want to sponsor us, just let us know.
Yes, because we're worth sponsoring right now.
I think I'm
with our average of, I think, 30 listens.
For all you know, the conversion rate might be 50%. It's not quantity, it's quality. And you, lovely listener, I think you're quality.
Yeah. You sitting there with your headphones in your ears. You have a lovely smile. And you contribute so much to the world just by being in it.
We've seen what you've been doing, and we're proud of you. Keep it up, champ.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I was listening to that, that would make me uncomfortable.
That's sort of what I was going for.
Anyway, I have Runner 3, which has been sent to me. That's like bit.trip Runner 3.
Oh, is that the auto runner?
Yeah, yeah.
I've never understood the appeal of those.
Well, then you're a dingus.
Like, not of runners, I get it, but the bit trip ones seem to have a special place in people's affections, and I've never understood what they do that's any different from what you could download for free on a phone.
I don't have a good answer for that, but just take me at my word that it's good.
I'll think about it.
I have also, next on my list is Detroit Become Human.
Oh, now I'll be interested to hear what you think about that.
I'm not expecting much, but we'll see.
It's probably the best way.
Yeah. Anyway, is that all for you, Rick?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, is my Gamefly rentals all for you?
I hope so. I mean, if you want to forward them on, I won't say no.
Alright, Toast. Your turn.
Okay, so obviously I haven't finished anything. Shocker.
Certainly
but
didn't finish
I
Wind
am-
Waker.
Wait.
But
Curve has fangs too.
I am still playing Kira Kira, and I'm still playing God of War, and I have fallen down the rabbit hole that is Stardew Valley.
Oh.
I used to play it back when it came out, and then I dropped it because there wasn't much going on with it at the time. And now that there's the multiplayer mod or beta, it has become a lot more. I think I've spent 50 hours in the first 2 or 3 days playing it. There was one time where I played it for 18 hours straight,
Oh.
and I was like, I don't want to go to bed.
Did you do this while in the kitchen and simultaneously on the toilet? How did you make that?
I didn't have to do anything that day. So I woke up early to play the game, and then I didn't want to go to bed because I was playing the game.
Damn.
And I modded the crap out of it, obviously,
Shock.
and it is so much fun. Ugh, I added so much good stuff to it. All my characters are super cute. I have, it's aesthetic. So good.
Prime aesthetic. What do you even mod into a game like that?
Uh, more recipes, like for cooking, more skill points, more like textures, more quests, more dialogue, more cutscenes, more hard events, anything and everything. More items, like more artisan goods to sell.
Is there not enough there already?
No, there's not. There's never enough.
That sounds like hubris.
If you can add in mods, then you should. Because if the game's good already, you can make it better, as long as it doesn't crash.
That's like a philosophical conundrum right there. Like, we'll have to get into that some other day.
Well, I'm right.
If you can, you should is a very dangerous argument.
If you can fill up your hard drive, do it. If you can get more things, do it. If you can mod your game, do it.
Yeah, until all of your Bethesda games crash on you.
I didn't say mod Bethesda. Also,
but
I said
you can mod Bethesda, so you should mod Bethesda.
I said if you could mod the game, if the game wasn't broken already.
But you can still mod it.
Yeah, but it's already broken.
But now you're adding extra rules.
Go somewhere far away.
He's already pretty far away.
He needs to be farther.
5 time zones isn't enough.
I'll give Elon Musk a call next time he's sending something up there. I'll go.
Anyway, what else, Toast?
That's all.
That's it?
Kira got a war in Stardew Valley.
Okay.
My life has become much smaller.
Excelente. Alright, so we're going to transition on from there. And we're actually going to... I don't know if this is going to take very long, but we're going to pick up a discussion that was left off in the forums regarding the Game of the Month. So I didn't really have a plan of attack for this, but, I mean... I've brought it up before, actually, about how it seems to me that in recent months, maybe in the past year or so, I've gotten the sense that Game of the Month has kind of, like, declined a little bit in terms of, like, the quality of responses and stuff that come as a result of it. I know people are still playing the games, and I mean, we saw that even with the Wind Waker discussion that was being held. But nobody was really talking about it on the forums. So I think there's a couple of issues with the way that Game of the Month is currently running, and I thought we could just talk it out a little bit to see if we could maybe come up with some suggestions for how it could work in the future. One issue that I think has kind of been addressed is there's been some suspicion that when the polls go up, people are kind of spamming votes for the game that they want to win, and then ultimately, because those are empty votes, those don't equate to how many people actually end up playing the game. I think the solution that has been suggested is that we just go back to like a tally system. So once we open up voting on the forums, then people just say, I vote for this. And then at the end of the voting period, we just count how many votes everything got. The only stipulation I would probably add to that is just to keep those hollow votes from getting through, is maybe we should make it that you have to have an account for like a month in order to have a vote or something.
That's not the problem, though, because if you have an account and you have multiple devices, you can vote on all of those devices.
Well, I'm saying if we do the tally system.
Yeah, I know, but
if you're just
the other way is not going to work.
Yeah, the other way. But I mean, what I'm saying is, with the tally system, you can still only vote if you've been a member for a month. So, like, you can't make a fake account to take place in the tally vote, basically.
Oh, that being cool.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I think one of the bigger problems in terms of making a game win with enough people behind it to generate a discussion is in situations like this month, voting credibility aside, you had two big games, Yakuza and excuse me, Wind Waker, and people sort of had to choose between them. And I'm sure there were 6 or 7 people who had voted for other games, but assuming that it hadn't gone to that split, might have all voted for a third game. And so, although between the two of them, Wind Waker was more popular, when everyone said, these are the games that I would play this month, and gave a list, a different game actually might come out on top. And so I think it would be better, well, I don't know how we'd get over the hurdles for this, if there was something more akin to a Facebook poll, where you could put a check next to every game that you would play that month. And then the one with the most people who would play it would win, rather than having to make a single first past the post type pick.
Another option that I think I've seen floated around is like a Condorcet type of voting, where it's basically like ranked. So you take the full list of games that have been nominated, and then you basically put them in order of what would be your highest preference, second preference, third, all the way down. And then each ranking is assigned like a certain point value. So then you just take all of the point values for each game and add them up at the end, and whichever has the highest point value wins, or something like that.
Yeah, so like a variant on alternative votes.
Yeah. So I mean, this is all getting into like just math at this point. But I don't know. Among those options, what would you guys be best about? So just the regular tally vote, like saying, I want this. The second one would be
simplest to implement.
Would be the simplest.
Short term, yeah.
Second one would be Rick's suggestion, which is saying, these are the ones I would be willing to play this month. And then third would be just ranking by preference.
Which is probably the most complicated one.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of all three of them, unless there's a way to automate it, someone has to go and tally that up. Which, one of the perks of the way that we've been doing it thus far is that SurveyMonkey, or whichever service is used to take the votes, just automates that process, and you get something fed out at the end. And I think the key to making anything successful is finding a way of doing it where there isn't someone who has to add all the numbers together or take down a tally.
I mean, there always has been like a degree of responsibility to it. Most often, I think it's Nalb who kind of takes up charge for it in, putting the polls together, always putting up the list of the ongoing list of games that we've chosen. So maybe one additional step could just be, picking somebody. It could even be Nalb, who seems to be on top of it for the most part, saying this is the person who's going to, be in charge of it, basically, who's going to tally everything up, announce things, put up the lists, maybe even regularize like what day we start nominating things, what day we start voting, all of that sort of stuff.
And it's worth remembering that, and I've just looked at where the list has come up to. We've been doing this for 3 years now.
Yeah.
It's quite remarkable when you consider the community's not massively active generally, but we've all sort of rallied around this thing for 3+ years.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I know that everybody enjoys it when it works, and it's something that people really do rally around. But I think there have been some issues with it. I think the second thing that I thought we could talk about in here is just to kind of get a sense of what games do draw people versus what games we've kind of been more lukewarm about actually playing. So I pasted that list into the Discord for both of you guys to refer to. And so I'm just looking through it right now, and I'm looking at the ones that I have actually played versus the ones that I either haven't played because I already played them, or I didn't play them because I just didn't have access to them.
Well, I think access is the biggest thing. I'm pretty certain that the games that do well generally are the ones that you can get on anything, or that are easier to get. So, you know, dragging back through 999, very, very easy to emulate. Prince of Persia, PC, and 2 fairly popular last-gen consoles. And that's the other thing. It means it's also going all the way back to the first one, Beneath a Steel Sky. That was free. Anyone can download Scum or get it on GOG. Symphony of the Night, same thing. Anyone can download a copy on PS1 and just run the ROM. So I think
not everybody would want to, though. So I guess that's something worth considering, is that not everybody is going to emulate when given the choice.
Okay, but then using the same example, it's downloadable on PSP and PS3, and I think PS4.
Yeah, it is on just about everything.
Might even be on or would have been on the Wii Virtual Console, I think. I'm not certain of that, though.
I don't remember. It might have been. I've also... I mean, the creature triple features have always been pretty popular, if I'm remembering correctly. Because, I mean, you
usually... Oh, sorry. Usually they only play one game, though. Because it's too hard to play 3 games. Length actually has it to do with it. A lot of the time. If the game is too long, people don't finish it.
I guess...
Which is why...
I mean, wonder... No, it's cool. I was wondering, like, if finishing it should even be, like, you know, the ultimate goal of it. As much as it should just be to play it as much as you can within the month and just, like, update on your progress, talk about where you are, discuss the mechanics and stuff with people who are experiencing them at the same time.
I always thought the discussion was sort of the point of it. I know, for an example, Oddworld, when that was nominated way back when, played it for about an hour, knew almost instantly that game was not for me. And so the point isn't I had to soldier on and get through a game I didn't like. The point was that gave us something to talk about. And maybe that's another factor, games where there are things to talk about. So if you drag back through and look at some of the games that haven't done so well, Minesweeper, for the joke that it was, there's very little to say there.
Yeah, I mean, Minesweeper is its own case, though.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
Honestly, Minesweeper is one of my favorites that we've chosen for Game of the Month, just because of the joke posts that came out of it. I don't think we should do it again, but it was fun.
Oh god, yeah, day 37. I'm sweeping the battlefield. I know they're out there. They were pretty good. They were pretty good. So yeah, I think we've hit on length. Talking point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking back. I'm trying to remember, how popular was the Fallout 4 discussion? Because that was Game of the Month right after it came out.
Before my time, so...
Okay. Maybe I mean, this is probably Googleable. Fallout 4.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I just know that I wasn't a part of most of this.
Yeah.
Because I didn't join till... Bayonetta 2 would have been the first one that I joined.
That one was really sad, because Mock Turtle was so happy.
Yeah.
And I think that really was the Access one, because at that point, unless you had a Wii U, you weren't playing that.
If he had chosen it now, it would be different, because it has access everywhere now. Which, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is what it is. Which one were we saying was it popular? Fallout 4?
Fallout 4. I mean, it had 2 pages of posts for it. They were all from about 3 people for the most part. But, I mean, there were some other people who chipped in here and there. So, I'm trying to look at the ones where it's games that either just came out or something like that, about how popular those tend to be. I guess the other one that would fit that would be Horizon Zero Dawn.
And I don't remember that one being all that big.
That discussion? Let me do a quick Google on that.
All I know is that for the book club, if it's a new game, I don't really participate because I'm not going to pay $60 to participate in it.
And I think that's the case with a lot of the community.
Yeah, so I feel like new games are harder to like get involved with. And I think that games that are too well known are also difficult because everybody who was going to play Wind Waker had already done so.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just beloved.
So games that are just too popular.
Yeah.
I think that has to have a caveat though, because I think if Breath of the Wild had been nominated, even if it was a month or two after its release, you'd have had gangbusters on it.
I mean,
that's different.
Yeah, because that's a recent game. I mean, everybody has, well, obviously not you, but most everybody has played Wind Waker at some point or another within the past 15 years that it's been out.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're sort of saying beyond a certain threshold, it probably is counterproductive. Okay.
Only if it was like a super popular game. Like, I could not imagine that we would get a lot out of, like, Super Mario 64, for example.
I mean, accessibility is another thing that, obviously, you can emulate, but like you say, not everyone wants to do that. And beyond emulation, you have the original, or the abomination that is the DS port. Bless you.
Thank you.
It's okay. Speaking of, though, just sidetrack, have any of you seen the rumours about N64 Classic?
No.
So
No.
Nintendo apparently filed a patent similar in the manner to which they did for the SNES Classic just before they announced that. And obviously E3's coming up. So,
I would not be surprised. However, I know that they're going to be probably missing a lot of the great games on it because I can't understand how they would get Banjo-Kazooie on it.
or GoldenEye.
Yeah, or GoldenEye. And if they don't really have well, GoldenEye aged like milk. But if they don't have Banjo-Kazooie, I don't think it's worth it. Because I don't think there's a whole lot of games for the 60. Like, the games that are on it are great, but there's not like the amount that Super Nintendo has.
I suspect it might be the perfect window for nostalgia. I think that's the thing, because if you played that growing up, you know, if you were 10, 11 when you started on that system, you're pushing 30 now, you have the disposable income, you're about the time where you want to be a bit more nostalgic. And with that said, I do take your point. There's nothing that massively jumps out. Obviously, there's 64. The two Zelda games have been remade.
Star Fox 64.
Yeah. Remade better on the 3DS. Well, arguably better.
Yeah, and I guess Star Fox fans are fanatical enough to pay exorbitant amounts just to get Star Fox back.
I mean,
no offense.
They paid out the wazoo to get Star Fox 2 on the Super Nintendo Classic.
Yeah. You guys are quite a force to be reckoned with, to be honest.
And what are they rewarded with? Zero.
Nothing. They're not. It's like, why do you guys keep coming back? You are getting shoveled poop. Stop it.
I think
Maybe
I might be the only
Eliades.
person who liked Star Fox Zero, but that's neither here nor there.
There's like one other person I know of.
Star Fox is a weird one. The only one I ever played was the one on the DS, which it wasn't bad per se, but it didn't do enough to grab me, and I suspect the other games probably would leave me with a similar kind of feeling.
I'm Monster Trashfire, and the only one I like is Star Fox Adventures.
That's a great game.
And
so
it's only
underrated.
because it's what I wanted from the series, and you don't have enough scarabs is like the greatest thing ever.
I think you're literally the only person who said, what do I want from that space shooting simulator? A game where you run around and hit things.
I don't like the spaceships, though. I don't find it very fun.
So then what
I
you
want it to
wanted
be an
from the
RPG.
spaceship series is sort of redundant.
Yeah, I wanted it to be a Zelda game.
And that's what you
Oh
got.
my god. And I don't even think it was that good either, but it was like fun for what it was. It was glitchy as hell, though.
In that context, your view is redundant.
Yeah, it's stupid and it's not right, but I don't care. Because it's what I wanted.
It is a very underrated game. I will say that until I'm blue in the face.
Yeah, and I deserve to get what I want over the millions of fans that are paying for the product that they want.
I mean, that's the danger when you bolt a franchise onto a game that it wasn't really designed for. You only have to look at Federation Force for that, because it probably was an okay game, but it got pilloried because it wasn't the Metroid fans wanted.
No, it was legitimately mediocre.
It was just bad. And I was being very generous with it too, because it was just like, Metroid is all about, like breaking boundaries and all that stuff and new ideas. So I was like, okay, that's cool. And then it was poop. And I was like, never mind. Don't want it.
Some technical difficulties.
Oh no.
Oh, I think we're back.
Huzzah.
All I heard was, that was. And then I was like, and that made me feel better bit.
Well, it's all you. You are the wrench in the cogs.
Alright, that's this week's title.
Alright, so I'm looking through the list again, trying to find others that were particularly popular. And I think that Mega Man 1 through 6 did pretty well, and I think that Borderlands series did pretty well. Earthbound got a lot of discussion, and Valkyria Chronicles.
I wish some of these were done when I was in them.
I feel like Binary Domain did okay as well.
Yeah, I mean, I know I played it. I can't remember how the discussion was around it. That's a pretty great game.
I played it on my old laptop, and I had to sort of prop it up so that the fans had enough juice to get it going. And even then, I couldn't play it more than 90 minutes at a time because my computer would literally shut itself off.
But then, I mean, just previous to that, we played Omicron the Nomad Soul, and
You say we played?
Yeah, me. I played Omicron, and probably no one else did. So, I don't know. I'm trying to see if there is, like, a theme to the games that actually get talked about.
A big thing, though, is when you're... I've noticed that people who pick something that they're, like, planning on playing, but it's, like, quote-unquote planning, it usually peters out because they don't end up doing it. I think the thing to do is maybe pick something that you actually are playing currently, or that you're going to start the next day, because people who... I don't think that people keep their word, and then discussion peters out.
I think that's actually a really good point. I think if you only were to nominate something that you're either currently playing or, like you said, about to start, like, the next day or something like that, then at least it gives a springboard for when the conversation starts. Because if at least somebody has started it by the time the discussion begins at the beginning of the next month, then you don't have to necessarily have those 3, 4, 5 days where people are still... getting a feel for it. You can then start, like, putting out those questions and those concerns and compliments and stuff that you have about the game right at the start of the month.
Yeah, I suppose it's just a case of people need to follow through if they vote for something.
Yeah.
Or the other thing that I've seen mentioned a couple of times, I don't know how much this really happens, but people have complained that votes are cast because, it's a game that you should play. not it's a game that I want to play again. And that's a problem, because if you're going to come at it from that perspective, you know, maybe you throw a post in the forum, but if everybody does that, then no one's actually playing, which is sort of the point of the book club.
So I guess what we're saying is it should be a little bit old, so that it's affordable, potentially accessible on multiple platforms. I mean, it seems like, looking at Earthbound and Valkyria Chronicles and, like, Binary Domain and stuff, those particularly seem to be games that a lot of people have on their list of, like, games I need to play. They just haven't gotten around to them, and I think that they succeed because it finally gives them an opportunity to take it off of the need to play and onto the let's just play it now list.
Yeah, and I think that's where the age and the accessibility really do show through, because if it's been around long enough to find its place on a few of those lists, and it's been easy enough to find its way there, that sort of paves the way for what you're describing.
I feel like if a game is over $20, I'm not going to play it for the book club.
Unless you already own it.
Yeah, unless I already own it. But if it's over $20, then there's no way.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people are the same. Like, if it's over $20 and it's something people don't really have, maybe think about that.
Well, I'd go one further. I mean, I know there's been times in the past where I don't own the game, and from my perspective, my backlog's way too big, and given the forum from which we originate, I think that's the case for a lot of us. And so I think to myself, well, I can't justify buying this game just because we happen to be playing it right now. But that's sort of inherent. I don't think there's any getting around that.
So, I don't know. I mean, we obviously don't have all the answers that just the three of us can come up with and expect the community to follow around.
Shh, don't tell them that.
We say it and it's law.
Especially since I've only been around since the problem started.
Shh.
I wasn't going to say it. But...
I have not been contributing to the problem, so you can take your massive ego and shove it up a place.
It's not going to fit in that place, so...
But ultimately, I think that we've come up with some good ideas here. I think that recommending games that everybody's already played is probably not a great idea. I think that maybe nominating games that are just about to come out, unless they're like indie games that are $20 or less, maybe not a good idea. I think, like we mentioned, that kind of perfect zone is those somewhat older games that people have been meaning to play but just haven't gotten around to. I think that is a solid zone to be in, but obviously, nominate whatever you will, whatever you think will generate good discussion. And I think for now, the way that the forums are leaning is we'll probably do the tally vote, at least for this next month going into June. But I actually really like your idea, Rick, and I think that we should probably talk about that on the forums. The idea of asking people what they would legitimately be willing to play. So, I mean, that way we don't get an instance of everybody with the same mindset. Oh, everybody should play this. I won't, but everybody else should.
Yeah, and in the short term, I think that's a case of, dropping a post in and then going back and editing it to say I would play X, Y, and Z, and maybe in the middle to long term, maybe Everdread is able to hook us up with something. Maybe we find a third-party service that can fill that need once a month. But it's something to talk about. Something to work on.
Cool. All right, that was actually a longer, much more fruitful discussion than I was expecting.
Thank you.
What? Did you think we were all just going to, give up? or like divulge into racism or something.
Well,
Yeah, give up. Screw the book club. It's over. It's done. It's had its time.
Yeah.
Podcast is canceled too. Just give up on everything at once.
Oh,
Yeah.
not even worth it.
So let's go ahead and slam down some intermission jams, and we'll be right back. For this episode's intermission, we have a remix of Save the Miners from the Earthbound soundtrack. It's called C60 Funk. It's by Mazedude, and it's courtesy of ocremix.org. And we are back.
It's almost like we never left.
Almost like it. It's almost like when we recorded this, we just went straight through, and I only paused for a second between segments, and then when I edited them, I just cut them apart. Almost like it, but not.
It's a bit far-fetched.
You know, to make it easier on you when you're editing, you should, like, scream right when we when the pause is, so you know where to cut it when you're editing.
I mean, I
No.
know where to
God.
cut it because I normally lead into it in some way.
Yeah, but
But-
it would just make it so much easier.
Now who doesn't have faith?
Just holler. Just scream like a banshee.
Curve can't find the break unless someone's throwing a tantrum.
Alright, so our next section is what I have deemed the host segments.
I want to say now, for the record, I've prepared a brief statement. I feel like recommendations is being sabotaged and devalued by malicious market manipulation. And I want to go on the record and say I'm not in favour of this. And if you agree and you aren't in favour of this manipulation of our capitalistic freedoms, you should write your congressman. So, with that said, go on with this farce.
I am sick of people taking your side.
AKA the right side, what do you want?
People take my side.
Come and be a goblin in the trash fire, it's more fun than it sounds.
I mean,
What?
honestly though, that sounds like Labyrinth, like David Bowie's Labyrinth, being a goblin in the trash fire. I'd absolutely want to be a part of that.
Yes.
Another thing I haven't watched, not properly.
Really?
You're
That was
the
such
devil.
a big part of my childhood. Wendy and
Go on.
Wendy and Brian Froud actually live they live here, so I've met them like a whole bunch. So it's like a super big part of like my life, at least, because I like know them.
It's one of those I've never seen it all the way through. So I've seen like the beginning bit where the baby gets taken. I've seen the bit with the blooming Cockney caterpillar. All right, mate, I'm down here.
Don't
I've
go
seen-
that way!
Oh my gosh, you do it so good.
Oh no.
Ah,
And I've seen like the bit at the end where she's saying some random words and apparently that beats him with the power of friendship. Or
It's not the power of friendship. It's the power
And
of
it's-
self-determination.
it's not about the movie because I don't actually really like the story. It's about the artistic direction and David Bowie.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh, and those puppets
Don't you
are
shrug
super,
at David
super,
Bowie.
super cool. I've seen some of the ones in real life, and they are awesome. Like, they are works of art.
So I'm hearing you're ever so slightly biased.
Well,
Biased because she likes it? That's how it works.
Biased because she knows the people that wrote it. She can't say anything bad.
I
Did
don't know. I guess they did write it, but they also made all the puppets.
Okay, there you are. So biased.
But that's a way after the fact bias. I mean, I don't think she had that going through her mind when she was a 4-year-old child watching the film.
Tomato.
Yeah, I didn't know them then. My mom would just
There's no
put it on
such
to
thing
shut
as
me up.
retroactive bias.
Yeah.
There is now.
Anyway,
You're
Go ahead
allowed
and-
to like David Bowie.
in fact, you're
Even
required
now,
to
I'm
like
thinking-
David Bowie.
His what? What did you say?
You heard me.
No, I didn't actually. That's why I was asking.
I said he's not going to mind if you don't at this.
Oh, we're not getting into that. We are not getting into that.
Mic drop.
We're just gonna move right ahead. We're gonna do toast section first. Because you don't get to speak right now.
Oh!
My segment,
Recommendation.
So
Pick
toast,
up round.
toast, go ahead.
my segment is called Hot Out of the Toaster.
I thought
And
it was
it's
fresh
so
out
much-
of the toaster.
Oh yeah, fresh out of the toaster, and it's so
I
much
prefer
better.
hot out of the toaster now, though.
Hot out of the toaster. Yeah, I like that one too. And it's so much better than Rick's. And what I want to recommend is
Like toast.
Agretsuko. I just started I like just finished it, and it is so good. Watch it in Japanese, and it is awesome. I love it. Watch it. It's good.
Do you want to tell us anything about it, or
Oh, I figured everybody in the world knew about it at this point. It's Hello Kitty, like Sanrio, teamed up with Netflix to make an anime. And it's about a office worker, like girl, who is an office worker by day and a death metal artist by night. And it is so good. Ugh. You have to watch it in Japanese, though, because the audio for the English is not good.
Well, you just feel that way about everything.
But it's genuinely bad. And the Japanese voice actor, I can't imagine it being anything else because they're just so perfect. And all the characters have such great character depth, and they have that signature Hello Kitty style and death metal, and it's so good. Oh, I want everybody to watch it. That's your homework.
That's the thing.
It is genuinely good.
I'm not going to be able to spell it. Like, if you send me a link, I'll maybe...
Well, it's on Netflix, and it's being, like it's their promotional show right now.
Huh. Whether it's on UK Netflix, I don't know. I'll have to have a look.
I'm sure it is.
I'm sure it is. Just make sure you watch it in Japanese because the original death metal songs were made for the Japanese version. So if you watch it in English, they had to adapt it, and apparently they're not as good. Because a lot of sub, not dub specifically, because they had to change songs, which are harder to change than audio.
Yeah.
And a lot of the epithets that are in Japanese don't make sense when you translate them to English. So I think that's a valid reason.
Okay.
So deal with it and go watch it because it's good. It is so good.
Now that we're done with your mockery of a segment, the only, the fan favourite recommendations, and this week's recommendation is the Picross 3D series for Nintendo DS and 3DS. You can't shake your head, Toast. You like those games.
It's good, but I'm just gonna be sad.
Difficulties again, so I can't hear what you're whining about.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You seem to be cutting out in the middle of the oh-so-great recommendations.
Yeah. Maybe it's because your segment's not that great.
I think the universe is silencing you.
Also, your internet's beeping at me.
It's not beeping at me. I don't know where that's coming from.
Alright, let's try this again. Picross 3D.
Yeah. I'll give you a reintroduction, maybe we can edit.
Is it pronounced Picross or Picross? I thought it was Picross.
I don't know.
I think you're...
Don't look at me for pronunciations.
So,
I thought you studied pronunciations.
I mean...
pronunciations.
I don't study correct pronunciations.
Thank you.
Necessarily.
Shut up.
Okay. So, in the interest of re-recording, now that we're done with that travesty of a segment, there is the one, the only, the fan favourite recommendations.
Oh, we're doing the whole thing again.
Yeah, yes.
I am. And this week's recommendation is the Picross 3D series, which is on DS and 3DS. And it's Picross, but it's better. And it's great fun. Great for a commute. Great for a jump in, jump out. Basically got me through the second season of University Deadline Simulator when I played that. So, yeah, well worth a go.
Okay. I will not be doing my segment today because I'm still workshopping it a little bit. And the guiding principle of it I have not prepared for, but I will be prepared for next episode.
You could just talk about random stuff.
Just talk about just a random recommendation?
Yeah.
All right.
Random recommendation.
Nope.
No.
A recommendation.
That almost works.
Almost, but
A
not quite.
recommendation.
Anyway, so
A recommendation.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't roll off your tongue.
It's awful. It's horrible. Anyway, the only thing that I think I'm capable of recommending right now is it is a book. It is called Lincoln in the Bardo, and it's by the author George Saunders, who is a pretty prolific short story writer. It's sort of like historical fiction in a way, very surreal and kind of postmodern, but it basically is It follows the true story of Abraham Lincoln, whose son, Willie Lincoln, died in the midst of the Civil War, and he was buried in basically a borrowed grave. And from time to time, Abraham Lincoln would go to the grave and, like, pull his son's body out of the tomb and just hold it. And it's horribly tragic, but the author basically takes that story and builds it into this narrative about all of the ghosts of the people buried in that graveyard, including Willie Lincoln, and how they basically react to Abraham Lincoln coming in and interacting with his son, and the son's ghost, like, feeling his father there. And it's painful, but it's beautifully written, very emotional, and I highly recommend it.
Sounds like a quick and happy read.
It actually is pretty fast. It's mostly dialogue in a sense, so it kind of reads like a play almost. And it's hilarious. You would not expect that it is, but there are parts where the ghosts are interacting and they have, like, these deformities that come out of them because they're in this weird spirit world. So yeah, it is honestly a really fun and really heartbreaking read simultaneously. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Totally unrelated to video games.
We go on so many tangents, I'm not sure that friends still listening.
By the way, watch Made in Abyss. Just do it. Everybody listening, watch Made in Abyss.
You get one recommendation, and that's me grudging. Don't push your luck. God damn it.
I don't remember that rule being laid down that we can only recommend one thing.
Write to your congressman, people.
Do you even have congressmen in the UK? Aren't they like parliament?
We have members of parliament.
Yeah.
They're basically the same thing, but they sound a little bit more uppity.
I'd take uppity over corrupt. What?
Pardon?
I said I'd take uppity over corrupt.
Corruptity.
Corrupted.
Corruptity.
Anyway.
The members aren't any better.
Let's just slide on away from that and get into our questions from the forums. Who wants to go first?
Me, because I've got a little question of my own.
Of course you want to go first. Why wouldn't you?
Oh. I didn't encroach on your go at the start of this podcast, nor have I ever. And we're back to ganging up on me again. I see how it is.
Go ahead, just speak.
Before the forum question, I've got a little question of my own.
Ah!
How do you guys feel about the Rage 2 announcement? Because I'm low-key hyped.
It looks stupid.
I have no connection to Rage whatsoever. I played the first game, and it went right under me like nothing.
I dislike shooters, and the style looks cringy.
The first trailer was very cringy. When it came to the actual gameplay trailer, it looked quite good.
The whole thing just tastes of bad now. Now that they did that trailer, the whole thing's tinged.
My suspicion is that they didn't want to announce it as early as they did. I suspect the leak forced their hand a little bit. And I'd like to think with more time, they realised that the trailer announcement trailer was not the smartest move. But
they should have just released the gameplay footage and just not even.
I mean. But
don't bother with the trailer.
Pardon?
Don't bother with the trailer announcing gameplay to come.
Yeah, Battlefield 5 did that recently as well. They had a trailer announcement trailer. It's like,
oh, surprise, surprise.
Alright then. Jesus.
Sorry, I don't like shooters very much. I would like them more if they didn't make me ill and cost a lot of money for me to play.
Fair.
I mean, that's not their fault.
Well, actually it is.
If it gets into like a field of view thing?
Yeah, at this point, if you don't have a field of view over 90 degrees, it's your fault.
And if you don't even at least provide a slider of some sort.
And if you include view bobble just because you think it's stylistically appropriate, then you deserve to be in the deepest depths of hell.
I will concede every single one of those points. I will also add the point that, and this is my one concern about Rage from the gameplay, if your gun takes up more than a third of the screen, you are doing something horrifically wrong. Unless that gun does a dead space and incorporates your HUD. In that case, I can sort of accept it.
I mean, I'm still going to get sick regardless, but if you got rid of those things, at least a larger portion of people wouldn't.
That's fair. Okay,
it's not always about me.
Just most of the time.
No.
We're just a podcast of narcissists.
All taking it in turns to take chunks out of each other in between purporting to talk about games.
Speaking of talking about games, what's your question, Rick?
Right, okay, so my question, which is really Nowb's question, is, have you ever cheated your way to the end of a game? Which ones and why? And for me, the answer is yes, once. And it's only a soft cheat anyway. So normally, like, if I'm inclined to try and do something like that to get to the end of the game, I'll just give up on the game. The one exception was...
Wait, real quick, we should define what we mean by cheating.
Anything beyond how the game is intended to be played. So I would include in that certain mobs that affect the gameplay challenge. I would include things where you put a cheat code into the game.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I'd include using a guide. I don't think that's cheating.
Using a guide is not cheating?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think, that's only the same as if you had a really not backseat drive. I don't think that counts as a cheat. It's so much as a handhold. So the one example in my mind is 2000 Transformers, which was on PS2. I think it also came out on GameCube and Xbox, but I'm not certain. Great game, but the minicons that you equipped to yourself had a very strict power limit to share between the four of them, and that annoyed the hell out of me and my brother when we played. So in a magazine, we found a cheat code that removed that limiter, used it, and that was it. The rest of the game we played normally. Other than that, I'm a good boy.
A real boy.
A real good boy.
Alright, Toast, what about you? Are you a cheater?
I have abused in-game mechanics. That one I'll concede. Well, it's just, if it exists, like, I know in Final Fantasy there's lots of in-game mechanics to spawn in monsters of a higher caliber to get more experience than you probably should. If that's considered cheating, I have done it.
It's borderline.
I have explicitly cheated in a lot of the Harvest Moon games and Harvest Moon-esque games, just because I feel like it doesn't actually bring you anywhere closer to finishing the game. It just makes, like, life a little bit better. Like, I've added in items just so I could have them, because the main thing I like about Harvest Moon is cooking, because I love cooking. And so I'll give myself, like, crap tons of ingredients to cook with. And I've done it in Stardew as well, because I just want to cook all day.
Question, why would you not cook actual food that you could actually eat?
I do that too. I just like cooking.
But it also takes a lot longer.
Yeah, and I just like cooking.
And it's more expensive.
And cooking in video games just looks nice. I like the way it looks. So I like when they have cooking in all the games, like and Skyrim and like all of them. Every game should have cooking in it.
I know you hate the Wii, but did you ever play Cooking Mama Cook-Off?
I don't really play Cooking Mama. I don't know. There's something that just rubs me like it. I don't like it. I don't like her voice.
I love Cooking Mama.
Oh,
I played that game so much with my sister.
I played the DS version because I think I had one of my deaf friends. She had the DS version, but it doesn't have any subtitles. so you never know what it's asking you to do. So she's like, I literally can't play this game. Here, have it. So I played that one, and it was okay. But there's something about her voice and her personality that just makes me not happy.
Her
Like,
personality?
I can do better. Oh, cooking mama. It's like, this makes me uncomfortable.
But sometimes
Loves cooking.
sometimes she will admit that you've done better than Mama.
It's like, better than mama. And she looks like she...
Wonderful! Better than
Yeah,
Mama!
I don't like
That
her.
was Russian, not the Italian you were going for.
That wasn't Italian.
Well,
That's just what she sounds like in the game.
She's not Italian. She's Japanese.
Yeah.
But then how can she make it like a mama used to make?
Because it's mama, like it's mama, like they still use that phrase.
Just
It's
going
like
back. Loves
downward
cooking
triangle, downward triangle.
doesn't like the game that's explicitly about cooking.
I like Cooks Are Delicious. That one's good. That's a good game.
Oh, I think I've seen that one. Is that the one?
Keyboard
it's the cartoon,
slapper.
a bit like Cooking Mamas. Yeah. No, I've not played any of them. They all sort of feel a bit like box tickets to me. But I have got Valhalla waiting on Vita, which is sort of like that kind of gameplay, but with cocktails and married to a visual novel.
Barkeeper type slap.
Waifu
Simulator.
barkeeping simulator.
Yeah.
Looks good fun, and the music for that game is, oh my god.
Yeah, it is really good.
And I love that they had an announcement trailer with literally recording of tracks for 6 minutes and then a splash screen at the end. I'm so about that. More games should do that.
That's how you advertise for visual novels, believe it or not.
The music and a splash screen.
Pretty much. That's pretty much how most trailers are for visual novels. It's just like various screens and music all throughout it.
Yeah, but various screens of the game and how the gameplay interface. This was literally a recording of the band playing in a studio.
Sometimes they do that if the music that they've gotten is particularly good.
Okay.
Alright,
What was
so...
the actual question again? Oh yeah, the actual question was about cheating.
Yeah, so I guess it's my turn to answer this question. And I'm gonna be honest, I think we'll have to come back to me because I have to go through my entire list of nearly 1,000 completions and decide which percentage of them I've actually cheated on, which is not insignificant.
Oh
So,
no!
while I'm doing that...
And while the audience grabs their pitchforks.
Oh, you're not a good person.
So while I'm doing that, whose question is it next? Toast, you, I think?
Okay.
Go ahead with yours, and I will come back.
My question is from Mallory, and it's what game, like, YouTuber or streamer is your favorite? And I only watch Game Grumps. And Dan Avidan is not only my favorite YouTube/streamer, he's like one of my favorite people in the universe. He is such a good person and adorable. So that would be my answer. Not Aaron though. Not really Aaron.
To date, one of my favourite things ever is that clip from Sonic 06. He's like, no, I'm done, I'm fucking done. Can't tell you how much I laughed at that.
I have been living for 10-minute powers. They are so good.
See, I
Make me
keep
so happy.
unsubscribed, but I never watched them. What is that?
Oh, it's them essentially have an excuse to just like fuck around for 10 minutes, and they're great. It's my
I
first.
haven't got my soundboard this episode. Deal with it.
Swear,
We're
for
PG-13
the-
now.
Okay, it's my first one, so it's fine. And
We've actually been quite clean this episode.
yes, yeah, we have. So cut us some
Fucking unacceptable. We need to.
Hey, man.
goddamn
Okay,
slack.
we were PG-13 a second ago, now we're R. Thanks, Rick.
But yeah, you should watch the 10-minute hour episodes, especially the makeup one. That one's like really good. And the Urkel one, it's not stupid. I swear, it's not stupid.
Rick, I think it's your turn.
Oh, How?
Oh, you cut out again.
Ah.
Rick's causing problems again.
When is he not?
God, what a loser. Oh no.
We're back in the room.
Oops. I wasn't saying anything mean. I promise.
Nothing very mean.
Yeah.
I believe you. Probably just ripping off on the Empire and our Queen and all of the rest of it. And all me.
What's the Empire?
What do you mean, what is the Empire?
What's the Empire? Is that what you call your little, like...
Center of Naval Excellence and Power, yeah.
Oh, wow, that's not great. That rolls off the tongue.
Mm-hmm. There's some dirty jokes there that I'm going to refrain from because we're PG-13. Right, where were we before the internet cock blocked our podcast, and where do we want to jump back in?
It was your turn to answer the question about who your favorite gaming personality is on the intranets.
Oh, that's right, we were talking about the 10-minute power hour, weren't we? And you were
Yeah.
telling me it's their excuse to do something.
The Timmy Jimmy
Oh.
Power Hour?
No, the 10-minute power hour, like with the game grumps. They just fuck around. It's great.
Bleep, bleep, bleep!
Oh yeah, you fucking slag. We're
Stop!
There's some really, really
TikTok
genuinely
boys.
great segments.
Sorry?
There's some really, really great, like, genuinely great segments.
Okay.
Especially, like, I think the Easy Bake Oven one was really good, and then the one where they put makeup on each other was really good.
Oh, I think I saw the thumbnail for that one. It was
Yes.
horrific.
Unicorn Bukkake.
Oh god. No. Alright, real quick, before we go back and Rick answers his part of the question, are we counting my speed runs as cheating?
Did you cheat to speedrun?
Yeah.
I mean, you use glitches to skip parts of the game,
No, I
Yes.
wouldn't call that cheating.
That's cheating!
but like,
It's in the game.
but I mean, like, it's not for the purpose of beating the game in terms of having like a completion on my list. It's for the purpose of speed running.
Fine.
The
Okay.
only way I
Count
call
that.
a speed run cheating is if it was a tool assisted. Otherwise, I think you're golden.
Cool. Alright, Rick. Answer the question. Punk.
I don't really watch many personalities or anything like that. So sometimes I watch the Rocket League pro players when they're playing, and occasionally I watch a guy called Simon Miller, who does some sort of oddball gaming content. But other than that, like, I watch more current event, philosophy, politics stuff if I'm watching YouTube, or like comedy skits. I don't really watch much gaming content.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of don't either, so that's kind of a tricky question for me too. But as far as like, I do try to keep up with speedrunners. I haven't really been speedrunning myself lately that much, but I try to follow what they're up to and the progress they're making. The one that comes to mind that I'm a big fan of is Half Coordinated. He's a speedrunner who only has the use of one of his hands, but he still plays at like top tier levels and has world records, and he's in the top like 3 or top 5 of a bunch of other games that have high level execution and stuff. Like I'm trying to remember, I don't know where he is in the Nier Automata leaderboards right now, but he used to be very high up there. Alright, so thanks to technical difficulties, the software I was using to record cut us off in the middle of that last conversation. I was talking about the speedrunner Half Coordinated, who is my favorite gaming personality. I think it cut off before I gave my actual rationale for it, but basically, he's just a very positive person, very upbeat about stuff. He the answer I gave when I answered this question last time before it got cut off by the software was that I was very inspired by a speech he gave at one of the Games Done Quick events, where after finishing his run, he basically spoke directly to disabled gamers and said, you know, you may not be able to achieve every goal that you want to achieve in your life because of your disability, but as long as you attempt it, you may be able to find out that the bar that you can achieve is higher than you initially thought it was. And to me, that's both a realistic and a very idealistic answer, and I really appreciate the optimism that he shares there. So anyway, that was my answer to that question. We had another question, but for the sake of time and not having to repeat ourselves ad infinitum, ad nauseum, we're just going to skip that one. And I will get to relive my answer to the question about if you have ever cheated in a game. I answered this when we were recording before, and they pooped on me because of it. So now I get to re-enter that seventh circle of hell or whatever.
Fortunately, I got it all out of my system, so...
So the vitriol won't be quite as bad. Alright, so this is the list that I finally came up with, and I noted that I probably missed some of them, either because I just skipped over reading them, or I forgot that I cheated in them, so it's likely bigger than is even shown here. So from the beginning, Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life, I cheated to duplicate a certain spice that you can sell, and then I found out that you can actually cheat in another way, that you can get all of that money without having to duplicate it. So in cheating, I actually made more work for myself, which is just awesome. Call of Cthulhu, I think it's called Dark Corners in the subtitle or whatever. Basically, my version got to a couple of unbeatable states, so I had to put in codes to skip certain levels. Dark Cloud, Mega Man 7, Omicron the Nomad Soul. The systems in that game are just so outdated and obsolete that I used codes to work around them. Demon Souls, DuckTales, Goblin Commander Unleash the Horde. There's a code in that you can input to skip straight to the end of a level. I did that for like the last 5 or so because I'm a scrub. Doom, Earthworm Jim, Pinocchio, The Lion King, Toy Story, Aladdin, Tin Star, Super Mario Brothers, Plock, Super Mario RPG, and Contra. For most of those, the cheating was using save states. So, yeah.
You bad human, you.
It was a lot more violent last time, the things they had to say to me.
That's fair.
Anything else you want to get out of your system?
Nah, I'm tepid now.
You don't want to burn me at the stake?
No, you're... No, I'll not say that.
No, go ahead. They missed out on the worst of it, so you have to throw down.
No, I'm good.
No, throw down.
Far be it unto me to make fun of anyone for their hair color.
Oh.
So you basically made the joke now, you may as well.
In case anybody's forgotten from the past 5 episodes where it has not been referenced, I am a redhead, and apparently that reflects on my character.
Poorly. Is what people say, but I would never.
Right, you would never. I'll go ahead and restate my reasoning for why I cheat in games, because I feel like even though I'm not being attacked, I should defend myself. I will often
summarize, you haven't got good yet.
In a way, that is kind of the answer. Basically, if I reach a point in a game where the difficulty or the systems are just not fun anymore, then I don't see any reason to bang my head against a wall on something I'm not having fun with. So if there is a way to cheat, then by Jove, I will cheat. Because really, no one is, being cheated but myself. And if I don't see it as cheating, then what's the harm done? I'm having fun. I get to sleep at night. I get to save some time. It's a win-win for everybody. So, suck on those eggs.
That just reminds me about how you ended the last one.
They don't need to know about that.
Well, they do now. What was it? You said something about your
Oh, no, don't do it.
It's
He
done.
cut out anyway, so it doesn't matter.
It's all done. Balls, internal, scrotum, shrinking. You get the idea.
In so many words. Yes.
In so many words and so many more.
So, now that we've all relived that and have to walk away with that mental image.
And the lovely audience at home have that in their heads for a fortnight. You're welcome. Keep it going, champ. I believe in you.
You're you handsome devil. Any other thoughts we want to leave people with?
So many, but I'm going to restrain myself.
That's probably for the best. Bye, everybody.